Another day, another story with your friendly AI lawyer. Facts. The case involves a petition to nullify the Philippine ratification of the World Trade Organization (WTO) agreement, alleging that the Senate's concurrence in the agreement was defective and insufficient, constituting an abuse of discretion. The petitioners argue that the WTO agreement violates the mandate of the 1987 Constitution to develop a self-reliant and independent national economy effectively controlled by Filipinos and to promote the preferential use of Filipino labor, domestic materials, and locally produced goods. The main questions raised in the petition are whether the Philippine Constitution prohibits Philippine participation in worldwide trade liberalization and economic globalization and whether it proscribes Philippine integration into a global economy that is liberalized, deregulated, and privatized. Issues. The main issue raised by the petition is whether the letter, spirit, and intent of the Constitution mandating economic nationalism are violated by the so-called parity provisions and national treatment clauses scattered in various parts of the WTO agreement and its annexes. The first issue to be ruled upon is whether the petition presents a justiciable controversy or involves a political question over which the court has no jurisdiction. Ruling. The Supreme Court has the duty and power to strike down any grave abuse of discretion committed by any branch or instrumentality of the government, including Congress. However, the court will not review the wisdom of the decision of the President and the Senate in enlisting the country into the World Trade Organization, WTO, or pass upon the merits of trade liberalization as a policy espoused by the international body. Rather, it will only exercise its constitutional duty to determine whether there had been a grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excessive jurisdiction on the part of the Senate in ratifying the WTO agreement and its 3 annexes. The court concludes that a portion of sovereignty may be waived without violating the Constitution, based on the rationale that the Philippines adopts the generally accepted principles of international law as part of the law of the land and adheres to the policy of cooperation and amity with all nations. The court dismisses the petition for lack of merit. Discussion on legal doctrines applied. The Constitution mandates a bias in favor of Filipino goods, services, labor, and enterprises, but it also recognizes the need for business exchange with the rest of the world on the basis of equality and reciprocity and limits protection of Filipino enterprises only against foreign competition and trade practices that are unfair. The WTO agreement grants developing countries a more lenient treatment, giving their domestic industries some protection from the rush of foreign competition. Constitution does not necessarily rule out the entry of foreign investments, goods, and services, nor does it contain any specific pronouncement that Filipino companies should be pampered with a total proscription of foreign competition. The Constitution is designed to meet not only the vagaries of contemporary events but also future and unknown circumstances. The court notes that sovereignty is subject to restrictions and limitations voluntarily agreed to by the Philippines as a member of the family of nations. The court also finds that the WTO agreement does not unduly intrude on the power of the Supreme Court to promulgate rules concerning pleading, practice, and procedures. The combination of broad substantive standards such as the right to a balanced and healthy ecology and the right to health, with remedial standards such as a grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excessive jurisdiction, could lead courts into the uncharted territory of social and economic policy making. In the area of environmental protection and management, courts lack special technical competence and experience, and professional qualification. When specific, operable norms and standards are not present, the legislative and executive departments must be given a real and effective opportunity to fashion and promulgate those norms and standards, and to implement them before the courts should intervene. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.